Hi, I'm Christopher Brett Rennis.
And I'm Nadine.
And this is our last show for the year. And we're answering your questions. We're kind of doing a bit of a rapid fire answer to some of your questions that have come through via social media. So let's get started. Right, first question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Is it possible to love more than one person?
Oh, yeah. And at the same time.
Cool. Agree.
Sometimes that's half the fun.
Can you have sex, good sex, without having an orgasm?
Definitely.
Yes, agree.
Orgasm shouldn't be the goal. Pleasure.
Yeah.
There should be no destination. We just,
Yeah.
It's the ride.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I think you're kind of right on that aspect, is that we do, and it's often also, it's not just the person who's ejaculating. It can sometimes be the partner who thinks, well, they haven't ejaculated, therefore.
But also ejaculation and orgasm are two different things.
I know, but
we do pleasure, orgasm, ejaculation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's that they are tied up. And if say
they're socially constructed to be tied up. We as a society think that they're all connected.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, and I love that these questions are like rapid, but we really need time to unpack every single one. But yeah, I think definitely
it's like if your partner doesn't ejaculate but you have a good time and there is pleasure, yes, and there is orgasm, yes, but like,
but as our body ages, orgasm and ejaculation lessens, and kind of towards the end of life actually disappears, but sex doesn't.
But there's I guess
pleasure doesn't.
I guess the point I was going to, so I hear from female clients, if he doesn't ejaculate, I mustn't turn him on.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, no, that's actually like
your number one sex organ is your mind and your brain.
And that's like the destination can be also not necessarily one person. It can be your partner thinking.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah. Ask the audience that can't respond to us. Wonderful. Yeah.
Phone in. Okay. Question number 3. Should oral be mutual?
Okay. There needs to be a conversation whether oral sex is on the table, and if one person or peoples, if it's like more than one person, 2 people are having sex in the room. I think communication, it needs to be communicated if there's an expectation of receiving or giving oral sex. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Like if you walk into a space and you get on your knees and start, and the other person's like, well, I'm not going to do it to you, but then that person really wanted it and there's no conversation around it, I'd be pretty pissed if I wanted it and the person was like, no.
Yeah. No, totally agree.
And I think this is why it's really to avoid the pain and the upset and the embarrassment or etc. Insert any emotion you may feel. Have a conversation around it before it even happens.
Do you think some communities are better at that conversation than others?
Oh, sure. Kink community. I think everyone except for heteros, really. We're not anti-heteros, sorry.
Okay, question number 4. Should I be worried about herpes?
No, we've all got it. Get over it. Sorry, it's rapid, but I say with love and love.
Yeah.
If you have any anxiety, please do come see us.
Yeah, no. But Nadine is right. 75% of us do carry the herpes virus.
And when you're getting your STI tests, it's not even, we don't check for it. Not we, as in doctors in Australia, we don't check for herpes because it is so common. It is not one of,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If your doctor does a herpes test via blood, say no thanks.
No thanks. You have to wait until it's physically appearing on your genitalia or even on your mouth, but really the more anxieties around the genitalia area. There needs to be
a visual observation and a swab.
And a swab will be taken.
Yeah. But in short, no.
Worry about climate change. Sorry.
Is it okay to be?
I'm sorry.
So somebody wrote a double negative. He's off camera. So let me reword this. Is it okay not to be into to penetrational sex.
Yes. It's right up there with the orgasm thing, to each to their own, like, you know, and sometimes like there's many reasons why people aren't into penetrational, whether it's pain or trauma or it's just not fun, different pleasure, erogenous zones. Yeah, I think there's just too much. Like, yeah, I think there's just socially constructed versions of what sex is. And if we don't fit that module, everything out of it makes us feel like we don't fit.
Oh, I'm totally with you. As a gay man, I feel I've got a lot more fluidity when it comes to sex. I can say, no, I'm not into that, or yes, I'm into that.
Yeah,
but heterosexuals do seem to have, you're right, a social construct that is sex. You're not, you know, if it's not in.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and
I think we've had this conversation off camera where like, when we talk about what sex is, I'm like, and
what is sex?
Yeah, what is sex? And I'm like, oh, sex could be this. Yeah.
It's surprising how many
people don't think oral sex is actually sex.
Or then when it comes to people having affairs, or they've been to happy ending massages, it's the massage that's, you know, that's sex.
That's sex.
So it's
talking about affairs.
Going off topic, it is about what you think sex is, your idea of sex.
Yeah, and what you're using, and what in that moment, what's the intention behind that act?
Yeah.
God,
final question.
Yeah.
How do I know I'm addicted to porn?
How do I know? I think for me, that word gets thrown around a lot. Addiction. Addiction to porn, addiction to sex. And for me, it comes down to like, okay, let's sit down, do a history, and let's figure out how much it impacts your daily life. Are you able to work? Are your responsibilities being met, or are they being pushed to the side because of this need for porn / sex? Like, that's such a, like, how long is a piece of string question? How do you know you're addicted to sex? Well, I need to know what's going on. Why are you using it as a coping mechanism? How often are you using it as a coping mechanism?
But I think that's the word there. What are you using it to cope for? And often in the addiction space, I think the stats something like 80% of all people with addictions have a trauma history.
Yes. But
she's having a thing. She's holding back, people.
I am, because I don't. I think it's very individualistic, and I think that like there are so many nuances, and I think like these are the sorts of conversations that need to happen one-on-one or in intimate spaces to unpack the complexities of an individual's lived experience. Not these broad statements that get thrown away and then and may be misinterpreted or might be dismissive of someone else's experience. That's all. That's why I feel a little bit hesitant about.
I'll step in then. Like any addiction, if it starts to interfere with your daily life. So if it is interfering with work commitments, your relationship.
I said that.
Yeah, I know, but let me finish.
If you're stepping in, bring something I haven't said, that's all.
But no, it is, there are red flags. And there are general red flags. Now, the reason why you're doing it, the why you're doing it is that's the individualistic bit. But so some people get into the habit of using porn to go to sleep. Some people get into the habit during particularly final exam periods where they use porn as a way to relax. And then it kind of comes a coping mechanism, not coping, I don't mean, stop it. It is a coping mechanism. And but it can be just as destructive as alcohol. But I think it's far more, because you don't walk away, you're not staggering out. It can take 5 minutes in some cases. You might think, oh, it's not a problem. Then you get with your real life sex partner and you're needing porn on the TV.
Yeah.
So I find it's a far more complex addiction.
It's very much complex, and particularly because it's linked in with the forms of masturbation and orgasm. If you choose, like, I don't know, I can't remember, but like there's some clients where they'll describe the way that they masturbate, and you're just like, that's so impossible to even replicate in the bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
With partner and partners, like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
And
like,
the things I've heard over the years, and you do scratch your head and you go, no wonder you can't.
like I'm gonna put my head upside down, come from this side, and it has to be like a really intense grip.
Yeah.
And like as if I'm choking my genital area, and I'm like, oh right, cool.
Yeah. It's an area that's I think finally getting acknowledged.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of
For
professionals, particularly, I think there's even peers of ours that don't believe in sex and porn addiction. And I think we will see it actually becoming more and more. The DSM doesn't recognize it. But I think in time we will see.
You have a colleague right here that still thinks that the concept or the word addiction gets thrown out a lot. And I just come back down to what's the attachment, I look at it through a trauma-informed lens, and I think that's also really interesting.
That's interesting how you do that. I look at it as an addiction is self-medication. So what are they self-medicating?
Which is a trauma-informed lens. Yeah. Which is about what tools are you bringing to the table to assist in your self-regulation. Yeah. All
right. So that's all the questions we're doing.
Yeah, that's all we got.
That's all we got. Now, this time of year can be a very hard period of time for many people out there. It's a lonely time for some. It can be an extremely stressful period for many with family, and often as well, your normal ways of coping are kind of thrown out the window due to one reason or another. So keep in mind that if you are feeling down, low, feeling depressed, you can always call Lifeline. Or if you're feeling suicidal, you can call Beyond Blue. Or if you are feeling really, really in that dark space where you feel like you want to end it, call 000, go to the hospital. There is no shame in going to the hospital and living to see another day, because you are worth it. You are really worth it.
This is also a time where family violence escalates. Safe steps. Also sexual assault crisis line for individual survivors of sexual assault. Reach out, and if you can,
1-800-RESPECT, which is also a website, as well as and the phone numbers on their website as well. To those,
if you forget any names, just call 000 and they will link you up. Yeah.
To those people. And particularly this one, I'm aiming at the queer people in domestic violence situations who often might dismiss it because we're not told that we can be victims of domestic violence. You are not alone. There are services out there. Q Life is a great service that's operated by queer people that you can call and talk to as well. So from Nadine and myself,
have a wonderful holiday break.
Enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and we will see you in the new year.
Bye.